Welcome to episode 17 of the Be More podcast. And yeah, where do I start? It was the most incredible podcast. I was honoured, fortunate enough, and just incredibly lucky to have been able to meet the parents and Tom Prince's sister. Tom sadly passed away 14 years ago now from a really rare form of cancer, and his cancer trust is one of the charities that myself and some of my clients are raising money for in the Three Peaks Challenge that we're doing on the 4th and 5th of May next month. And at the weekend we went and met Tom's parents to obviously let them know that what we're doing, and if there's anything that we can do to help raise money for their charity or anything that we could basically put in place using them. And I had goosebumps the entire time we met them on Sunday, and I said to them, look, can we jump on the podcast? Can we share your story? This is incredible, like what you've done. Last night I went around there and we recorded the podcast, and once again, just goosebumps the entire time. And yeah, they're an incredible family, and there's no wonder, like Tom's obviously left a huge legacy, and obviously his charity has raised over £1 million. Like he's forever going to be a legend. And that for me, I never got the honour of meeting Tom, which I know for a fact that I would have definitely got on well with him. Having heard everything everyone said about him, and obviously the legacy that he's left, like he wouldn't have raised that much money if he wasn't like a true, just incredible character, right? But I can just tell that he must have been that just by meeting his parents and his sister. Like they're just the most caring, loving, kind, driven people who have this goal, which was the goal really was to raise £1 million for the charity, but the goal really was to prevent another family feeling the way they felt. And for me, meeting them and the opportunity to just listen to their story it's undoubtedly changed my life, and it's super powerful, super inspiring. And yeah, I'm so lucky to have the opportunity to use this podcast and be able to put on an event like this and try and raise some money for this charity and have my clients with me alongside me while we do the challenge. And yeah, this literally be the first of many charity events that I'm gonna do. And completely blown away. Just listen back to the podcast then, and I feel quite emotional. Like it was insane. And by all means, without further ado, listen to the podcast, guys. Check it out, and let us know what you think. And if you want to donate to us doing the Three Peaks Challenge in a pair of Budgie Smugglers, then I will leave the Just Giving page in the link below, I guess. I don't know how you do it via podcast, but I'll find a way. But without further ado, here's the podcast, guys. Enjoy. Episode 17 of the Be More podcast. I'm honoured to be joined today by Emma, Adele and Clinton Prince, I've got the names right, Tom Prince's family. And you've done an absolutely incredible thing, haven't you? I want you to introduce yourselves to the podcast and what you guys have done. So we're basically doing the Three Peaks Challenge for this charity and for cancer, and we met you the other day, didn't we? And your story was massively inspiring, and I thought, we've got to get on the podcast, we've got to get the story out there and help create more awareness for your charity. So let's do it.
Well, basically, as a family and as a community charity, we set a goal of raising £1 million, and we've achieved that. But we couldn't have done it without the support of Emma's friends, family, Tom's friends, and the wider community of Portsmouth in general. It's been a fantastic response. And
a hell of a journey.
A hell of a journey in lots of different ways. But all the money raised is going to cancer UCL in London, and all the money will go to research into osteosarcoma. It's headed up by Professor Flanagan. So we're very pleased to have got her, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
That's basically the stage we're at, and
from the beginning, what's the story? So Tom was 15, right?
Tom was diagnosed when he was 14 with osteosarcoma, which is a primary bone cancer.
Which is really rare, isn't it?
It is a rare cancer. and
it mainly affects children and young
teenagers,
adults.
young adults, yeah. And it's primarily a lot of mainly cases are in the knees or the arms, but you can get in other parts of the
And how rare is it? Like, what are the stats? Like, how often does it affect people?
If I'm correct, I think it's about 50 cases a year
Mm.
for teenage autistic sarcoma. So it's
It's not
rare.
all of the UK.
It's
isn't
the whole of the UK.
Yeah. And did you say in the last 30 years there's been no more research done on it?
There's been there is not a lot of research has been done in it, but because it's a very difficult cancer to diagnose and cure, there isn't a lot of money being put into it. So when we lost Tom, we wanted to do something in his memory, and there was lots of things we could have done, but we felt it was really important to try and make a difference in the research side of it.
Mm.
So right away our plan was, let's raise £1 million for osteosarcoma research. So we started the ball rolling, running. We set up the charity, make it a registered charity, because we thought people would support us more, looking at nationally as well. So that took a little while to have it registered and with our lawyer and stuff like that. But we did start fundraising right away, because people that knew Tom and our family were like, what could we do? So especially right at the beginning, they were having sponsored walks and runs and dances and things like that. So we very quickly, before we knew it, we had like £60,000, and so we just continued to fundraise and put more and more into it. So I think it did help us as a family, because we were all sort of quite traumatised. So we that helped us to fundraise and pull together.
Yeah.
That was Emma's friends, our friends, your works colleagues, and I think from setting up like that, where it was family based and it was in the community, people really rallied round, and because we had a target and we, doing it for Tom, so it quickly progressed from there. And we used to think, you get 200,000, 300,000, we should be doing something with this, but where there wasn't a lot of expertise, and 200,000 and 300,000 isn't a lot. It's a lot of money to raise, but it's not a lot of money in terms of research. So we thought, we'll wait till we've raised the £1 million and put in a substantial research project. So fortunately we achieved our goal early last year, but before that we started looking into a good place to put the money. So we started looking at universities and hospitals and researchers, and last July we signed a deal with UCL for a 3-year project to research osteosarcoma. And one of the main things our first proposal was to sequence the osteosarcoma genome, and there is funding for that, and our £1 million will then add on to that. So it's quite a worthwhile project.
It's the biggest single donation in the UK for research into osteosarcoma.
Yeah.
We can't say in Europe because we can't verify that, but it's a massive amount of money.
Just going back to that kind of thing about the research and stuff, I think when we first got involved with this, didn't we? We heard that there just had been no real progress in years and years. The surgery side had come along a little bit, and they could be more precise with the surgery, but other than that, the research was just not going anywhere. And I think the reason was because it was rare, it was difficult to identify, and because the numbers aren't huge compared to other cancers. Perhaps focus was pulled elsewhere, and I think that's why it was so important for us and all of our family and friends
to raise
to
the
jump
profile
in.
of the cancer, isn't it?
Point. Yeah.
So many people just hadn't heard of it, including us. I wish we'd never heard of it, but so many people had not heard of it, and just by our little family getting together with all of our supporters, now we've raised the money, but we've also raised the awareness. And I think it's come at a really exciting time. You guys know this much better, but our interest in it, the conversations we've had, have then sparked other conversations. It's kick-started other bits of funding all related to it, so it's a really exciting time to be involved.
So £1 million is a huge amount of money. Was that was go with the word go?
It was.
I don't think I realised how much £1 million was.
Did you think it was possible, or did you think, we'll just set a massive goal and we'll just go and work towards it?
No, I think we just...
I can remember
Be honest, didn't you?
I can remember when we got £100,000 and we're going back quite a few years. And
how
you
long
think
did that take to get the 100,000?
13 years?
No, 100,000.
Oh, 100,000.
It was probably... a year to 18
months.
Not 18 months.
About 18 months to get to the first
How did
100,000.
you do it?
How did
You jumped out of aeroplanes. You know, we
Yes,
I ran the Great South.
Literally anything.
Anything,
car boots.
car boots,
Yeah, we had
sponsored dances. We
my sister selling plants.
yeah,
And there's
we,
been really nice things where like that. There's a little girl years ago
Francesca
who sold bracelets for us
bracelets.
In a forecourt.
outside of her house. Like maybe raised like £7 or something. But
I think it was 14.
Yeah.
I
that's a
remember.
memory.
But you've got
It's
memories
that-
all the way along. It's lovely
Yeah.
memories.
Yeah,
We've-
and
we've
it's
had-
gone.
Sorry.
I should say it's gone from things that have raised £14 to things. Some of our bigger fundraisers that have raised, like Blue Days, raised how much? 50 grand in one time or something.
Yeah, the very first Blue Day, I think it was almost 100,000 because
Yeah,
it was
that's
Blue Day
huge.
1 and 2, and then we kept it as an annual fundraiser, which was roughly about 25,000. Now 20 to 25,000. So
The variation.
it's worth doing that, and also big supporters like Football for Cancer.
Yeah, that's it.
We've done lots of. We've had collections at Fratton Park.
But it's always been fun orientated, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's never been
package
on the
shopping and
downside of it.
waitrose.
It's especially on Blue Day when you see the kids come to school with the pompy tops on or the face painted blue. It just gives you a little buzz. And it's a lot of schools actually put it in their yearly calendar to say when's Blue Day fall and what time, so they can mark it in. But no, it's
Also, local musicians, like groups
yeah.
and that. We've had annual dances and they've given their services for free. So
Yeah.
big local bands play for us,
the music scene in Portsmouth
yeah.
has been tremendous,
Yeah,
absolutely
and-
tremendous.
like the pier and the pyramids and that. Having the venue for free. So we've been fortunate to get no cost for the venue, the band. The family make the tickets and do all those things. So there's no outlay for a lot of our things, so therefore every penny donated would go to the trust, and then we'd do raffles and blackouts and all sorts of
Star
things.
Roses and
So, local businesses have maybe donated a gift or something we can put in the raffle, but we've had, when I've looked through the books for accountants and stuff like that, and you look back over the years and you think, oh yeah, we did this and we did that, and it's just amazing that almost every part of the community, it feels like, you've had local businesses, supermarkets, schools, colleges, loads,
Everyone.
yeah, you see people volunteering to help us with their collections and things, volunteering their time with, the bands, people helping us, make flyers and stuff like that. So we've had a lot of, excuse me, people help us in that way because they wanted to get involved, I think. Especially if they knew Tom through school or through football, or they knew us through our work or whatever, all the different associations, that
I think it works really well in this city as well. I think we've said this time and time again, if we were maybe in a teeny tiny place there wouldn't be enough momentum, or if you're in a massive city you'd just be
Yeah,
lost.
just lost.
This
Yeah.
seems like a really cool city,
Mm.
like right kind of size where everyone kind of knows everyone a little bit or links in or whatever, and it just means, I think the fact that we've been in Portsmouth has been integral to
Yes,
it,
yeah.
really.
And
yeah,
I think things
I
like this
think
as well
it is,
also
it's
brings
quite
the
a-
community a lot closer, right?
So,
yes.
Things like this can bring the community
Oh,
a lot
yeah,
closer.
yeah, yeah.
The impact it
Yeah.
has is like crazy.
I mean,
Yeah,
I went with Maureen for a walk yesterday, and we bumped into, it was one of a next neighbour of ours, and going, oh, I've seen you've reached your target, and that, because I've heard it. And she actually lives abroad, but she gets the news online, and she was over.
Oh, that's sweet.
She's over for a couple of weeks, so that's really nice. You think, well, people are still they've still heard about it. Do you know what I mean? That it's great for them to know, and this kind of thing's ideal because we've said that obviously people that know us will get the evening news and have read about it, but you want to get it out there to say, like, not only to let them know what we're doing, but to thank people for what they have done, and that they have made a difference. All those fundraisers over these
yeah.
12, 13 years.
Doesn't what they've
It's
put in
not
the pot
just-
or
yeah.
what they contributed, every penny they've put, it's helped us reach that target. We've had so many generous people with their time, with their money, with their comments. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, and all we can do is take positives out of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we can do.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, this is such a rare disease, and it affects youngsters. So I think you get the families cocoon round the individual who's got this osteosarcoma, and it's very hard for them to crack the shell and tell them their story, because once you you have a tragedy in your family, the last thing you want to do is go on a rooftop and shout about it. But unfortunately, sometimes you've got to do that to raise greater awareness.
How did you do it? Like, how did you do it? Like, a lot of families would hide away.
I think,
Like,
well, we've talked about this before. I think mainly it's because of who Tom was and
Yeah.
how he was. You know what I mean? We keep saying, oh, he was a lovely boy, and I know parents say that about their children, and that's quite right. But he was very sociable and outgoing, and he played for several football teams and things. So, you know, when in the school, do you remember he gave us a book with all the things that his school friends and that had written in it, and it was really lovely to read these things, and things that we didn't know, the comments about, you know, like girls saying things like, oh, I remember when we were in year 4 and you let me play football. And things like that. And it wasn't just his mates, you know, he had female friends, and he liked to include everybody.
Yeah.
He didn't like to see anybody left
he,
out or, like, I'd say picked on, but he always watched out for the
think
weaker people in his little circle.
I think he was so kind.
He's
and
kind,
he had
yeah.
a really good amount of lovely friends, and there was that momentum where you kind of couldn't not do
Yeah.
the charity. I mean,
Yeah.
there probably were times when all of us just wanted to close the door and run away, but I
Yeah,
don't think you
definitely.
kind of felt that you could, because there was so much support and enthusiasm. And then the ball started rolling, and like Mum said, you had you had 60 grand. You're like, right, well, we're in charge of this now. And someone said out loud to the press that we'd raise $1 million, so okay, here we go, this is our journey now. And it's been amazing, hasn't
They're
it?
very good at maths.
So
it's obviously he's got like a massive character, because like you've raised £1 million because of what he's
in
left behind,
Tom's name, you know, we
and
say
now he's just got like a massive legacy that he's left behind.
Yeah.
For what he's done, it's incredible.
it is. You could think, well, I think that was the thing that it is a devastating thing for any family to go through, to lose a young person, and you could think, well, okay, that you will have to just accept that, and you grieve and you move on, but you never actually move on completely,
No.
because there's just a hole there, and there always will be, no matter what you do. But as we said, the way Tom was, we just needed to do something, and it has helped us, but it's something for the future for other people. You know what I mean? That
I think now that the
you can't
money's
just
been
not, you know, once that happens, you can't think, oh well, you know, we just have to move on. It just changes you so much, doesn't it? You think, well, why hasn't this been done? And you know, if you've never heard of this cancer before, and you think, well, this has happened to us, this is going to happen to at least another 50 families in the UK a year, and the prognosis is not brilliant, especially if it's gone to other parts of the body before you diagnose, and that's, I think, 1 in 3. I don't want to put too many statistics because I'm not a scientist, but I know, you know, if you don't catch it early enough, it's devastating. And you think, well, you just can't not do anything after you've gone through that. You know what I mean? You have to.
So the goal wasn't really $1 million; it was more like, can you prevent one family from feeling the way you felt?
Exactly. Yeah. You just think, do something, and you should, you know, like awareness as well. You know, you think maybe, well, what is this osteosarcoma? If somebody looks it up, you don't want to frighten people that, like a lot of cancers, it's getting diagnosed early. But then you think, well, if you've got pain, you've probably got a cold, not necessarily you've got cancer or anything. But GPs are not fully aware of, you know, we've said this before.
We actually try to get a poster campaign. We talked about getting a poster campaign in GP surgeries. That, like, if a kid comes to you with saying he's got an achy arm, achy leg, they'll always put it off to like a sports injury thing, osteosarcoma. But then I suppose the GP's got so much on their plate that, you know, their rooms would be full of posters. But I think statistically, I think it's a GP will come across a case of osteosarcoma once in his working life. So that's how rare it is, and it's quite shameful. The clinical kind of advances that have been made have been nothing, and the amount of money going into it is pitiful. So for us to, you know, we're so pleased and proud that we've been supported to raise £1 million. It's a huge amount of money for us. But in the world of research, it doesn't seem an awful lot at all.
No.
But to put that into context, that's the biggest single contribution into osteosarcoma, really sends a shockwave, you know, to everybody thinking, well, how much has gone into it?
Good thing
so
is that
hopefully
it
we'll-
will.
Yeah,
That'll
we
spark other
we
interest
started the
and-
shockwave now. Yeah.
Definitely.
Get things moving.
I think that £1 million as well has always been quite abstract. I found it always quite abstract, and like you think, right, jump out of another plane or do this or do that, and you can see it in the background. You can see it in the future. Sorry, but now I think that we've got that money. You can see how it's actually really tangibly going to help people.
Yes.
Like, and you can
Yes.
almost picture the families that it's going to help, which is just incredible. Like,
And now you've hit the million, are you going to settle, or are you going to, is there another goal now, or what's next?
don't say that in a minute.
I'm fed up falling off my bike.
Well, we're actually doing another Blue Day this year on the 5th of May. We said it would be
Yeah.
our last Blue Day as a family in the hope that we could maybe pass that on to someone else.
Yeah.
It'd be a shame to give it up completely,
Yeah.
but we feel as though we've met our target and we've done that. We're
And the
happy
people
with
been with our
choice of putting
journey,
it.
been on the journey
we're
with
putting
us.
it. It'd be nice if somebody could sort of pick that up and.
So for
Right,
those who
but
don't
just-
know what a blue day is, what is a blue day?
Oh, what a Blue Day is. You explain about Blue Day.
So we've done them for years now, haven't we?
Is it
and
from the
it's-
first year, so 14 years you've been doing it?
We
or-
did it when Pompey first got into the FA Cup finals.
Semi-final.
Semi-final. I'm not a football person, sorry. Semi-finals, and it happened.
2008 was it?
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
it was
2008, the
2008, yeah.
semi-finals. Yeah.
So was that like 4 years after?
Yeah.
And it was we did it with conjunction with the News, our local newspaper, and it was a really simple idea. Just have a dress in blue day and donate money to the trust. And we weren't really sure how well it was going to take off. We knew that like there was a lot of Pompey supporters around, and they liked to wear their blue. And I think we had a registration form the first year as well, didn't we? And you could just all of a sudden see the forms pop it in, and it just blew up. It was crazy. It was brilliant. There was you're much better with the figures. How many like schools was it?
Schools,
and
I
businesses?
think there was about a couple of hundred, wasn't there? It was filled the sheet of paper. But the crazy thing was we arranged this for the Friday, and I went, oh, I'm not working a Friday, I'll come and help, what should we do? And we had this surreal moment where we were locked in the bank with people coming in with buckets of money, and we were counting it up with the cashiers in the back room to process this money. Putting it actually raised about £50,000, and we were
In the first year?
well,
And
like
it
this
wasn't
was that
just-
one event.
And it wasn't just dressing in blue. People got really creative.
Oh,
There was like
Smurfs.
dressed as Smurfs. Probably 10 million blue cupcakes were made.
Yeah.
Like people over the years, people have sat in bars full of cold baked beans. They've done singing tournaments in all the little schools and stuff. It was
Heads
really
Sing-alongs.
shaved, legs
Yeah.
waxed, all sorts
Yeah.
of
Well, we
things
can
like
imagine
that.
it would have that kind of impact.
It's
Well,
so cool when you see like little kids that you don't know going off to school
Mm.
to raise money for your family. Like
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You
Gets
see,
you
we met the editor of the Evening News a couple of weeks afterwards.
Mm.
It was at some event, and I've gone over to say, thank you so much for running the story and all the rest of it. And we were amazed about the response in it. And at that point, they played the game and won and got to the finals. And he said, yeah, we're thinking of having a Blue 2 day. And I went, really? He went, I said, do you think people will support that? It's not even 6 weeks in between. He went, yeah, we'll go with it. So then it was Blue 2 day.
oh god, yeah.
And that was, I'm thinking, well, you might get a few people, but that was actually just as big, wasn't it?
Yeah.
6 weeks later. So
Couldn't count
you
the
look
money quick enough.
you look at the our accounts, for the first year, I don't know if it was 80,000, 78,000, something like that. And then the following year it was like 130, because it must be more than that, but nearly 100,000 was that year for Blue Day. And you're like, oh goodness, and that's why it was so important for us to try and maintain that as an annual event.
And so
Which we
many
did
of the
do.
people have carried it on.
But it
haven't
is,
they?
there's a
core
lot of
group.
the core people that same 30, 40
They do
every
it
year. So
or they
sometimes-
contact us in advance and say what date's Blue Days. We can put it in the calendar.
so you have got
and
that
this-
was just amazing. So
what's the date this year? Is it the 4th or the 5th?
I think it's
four,
the
no,
fifth,
the
isn't
fourth,
it?
the fifth,
Saturday.
the
The
fifth
Saturday's the
Friday.
5th, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
Friday
it'll be
the
the
4th.
fourth,
Friday the
yeah.
4th.
well,
Friday the
schools-
4th and sorry, our
Our
collections.
collections are fifth,
Yeah,
yeah.
fifth.
But
So but yeah,
At
I'm
Front
trying to
Park.
get everyone involved in
Yeah.
that. Yeah. We'll put our website at the end of that if that's alright. So people can go to our
Yeah.
website and have a look. But yeah, that's always been a
We'll
good
be at
fundraiser.
Fratton Park, won't we, on the
collection,
Saturday? Well, our orange t-shirts and blue wigs and buckets. So,
That's always such a nice event because you'll see so at every football match they'll have someone with buckets collecting for charities, but our supporters, it's just such a good feeling when they come up to you with the pound ready. You
it's
don't
just,
have to
sometimes the
ask
same
them.
people come up saying, I've been looking forward to seeing you and
Yeah.
stuff.
Or
Yeah.
they come back.
Yeah,
they
come
come
back for
back to put money in. Or they ask you, what charity it's for, and then when you say, "Oh, Tom Prince Cancer Trust," they're like, "Oh, hang on," and they get it out and they get it all out.
some of them, they actually take the purse out and just empty it all out. Yeah.
So we've been really, really fortunate with the support. You know, we've said that all the way along. There always seems to be amazed when we do anything, and you think, oh, you know, we'll do this and try and raise some money, and we've had dances. What was it? We were was it a shirt you had? Was it a Pompey shirt, I think? And we were you were raffling it and you auctioned it, and the chap came along and he offered you a huge amount of money for it.
Nice.
You said to him, was it £500 or something? You said to him, I think, well, I'll come back.
have
a think about it and I'll come
It
back.
was an awful lot of money.
And he was back later.
It was. I think he said out. I said it's £250 it's gone up for. I said it's an awful lot of money. I said, do you want to go away and think about it? He says, yeah, okay. Then he came back 2 minutes later. 2 minutes later, he said, I've thought about it. He said £500. It's the same bloke who actually bid £250 for it. So.
Some of the stories of generosity you hear, and you can see why we're so passionate about it, because it's our family and stuff. Well, Tom's our family and stuff, so you're personally affected. But it's just so many amazing people that never met Tom or didn't really know us, or however they've got involved, and they've been so wonderful. Yeah, like it's been
I think it's because we take it so personally, don't we? I know it's not for us, it's not for Tom. It's for future patients, and it's to do something in Tom's memory. But I think because it's so personal, you feel as though they're personally helping you and doing it for you and your family. Do you know what I mean?
But their support helps you because there's nothing worse if you're standing there shaking a bucket. And I think sometimes you're a bit of an introvert. You don't really want to stand there shaking a bucket, but you know you've got to do it for a reason. So. People giving you a positive feedback is a lot better than saying, it's you again. But we just don't get it. It's just been fantastic all the way through our little journey.
And I think that's one of the reasons that helped us along the way. You know, obviously we had this target. We thought we want to do something, raise $1 million. But because of the people who've been so kind to us, so generous and so supportive, we've managed to keep going. Because if we'd hit a brick wall, if you were getting negative vibes all the time and nobody turning up, nobody wanted to do it, but when you say, oh, you were thinking of it, do you think you could play for us? Oh, yeah, and you know what I mean? And we always seem to be, it's not that we're expecting them not to do it, but I think when people are keen and they're eager and they want to help us, you're like, this is great, you know what I mean? And that makes you feel good as well, and it makes you keep, and I think the other thing with fundraising, when we've talked to people, they'll say, oh no, we like to do it, it's that they feel better once they've done it. They feel as though they're helping, and that's another reason why we want to tell so many people that yes, you know, your £1 million is going to do this. You know, it's doing something now. And
should we explain what it is that it's doing?
Please do.
Through that at this bit.
Yeah, well, don't know where to start. Well, as we said before, it's underfunded, and it's up until 2004, the technology for screening the genome wasn't available up until 2004. So for other cancers, that's happened. So that the genome's been sequenced, and it's helped advance understanding and treatments in other cancers.
They can understand essentially how to target the cancer by understanding the sequence of the genome, but it's not been done for osteosarcoma. So it's been done for other cancers, and that's why other cancers has progressed and treatments are better, survival rates are better. So it's never been done for osteosarcoma. So that was our first proposal, was to do that. But the Professor Farnigan has secured funding from. She's secured other funding to do the sequencing. So therefore, our £1 million will go into phase 2 to then. To take the sequencing to analyse that and move forward. I'm not explaining that.
I think it's once they've broken down the genome or found the construction of the human genome for osteosarcoma, that would have taken a huge chunk of our £1 million. But because this agency stepped in to do it for us, or part of their project, we can now move into like phase 2, which is all the clever backroom people find out the best way to target the drugs, best vehicle to put the drugs to the patient.
And I think really simply as well, I'm not sure how much everyone knows. So all along we wanted to put money into a substantial research project rather than it getting
Absolutely.
flitted
Good,
away
Get started,
on
yeah.
very good reason for very good things, but we wanted to make a substantial leap forward, hopefully, and that's what's happening. So we looked through different options, and we've gone with University College London because their expertise in all sorts of cancers. They've got Dr. Flanagan that we love, and she's a leading figure in osteosarcoma research, and they've got all the technology and experience there. And this money is being used to set up the Tom Prince Osteosarcoma Research Project, which is still fairly new to us. We're so used to saying Tom Prince Cancer Trust, but it's being used to set up that. So we're going to have dedicated researchers looking specifically at osteosarcoma research, and it's the first UK-wide osteosarcoma research project in the country. And like we've said a couple of times, because we're very chuffed with it, our donation is the biggest single donation to osteosarcoma research in the UK. So that's what it's doing. So we're really hoping that it's going to be a real tangible difference. We're not expecting to cure osteosarcoma. We're just hoping to improve understanding of it through understanding the genome, and then we can improve the research and then hopefully improve treatment for patients and
It
things.
can be the catalyst for everything else, right?
Yeah, that's why you should talk all the time.
I know, I'd love it.
Just hearing you speak about it where you're so passionate, how are you going to stop?
Well, that's
Tired.
Yeah, I think the body's telling you to stop now.
So you're all working full time, right? That's correct, isn't it?
No, I'm not. These two are.
You've just given up your job.
Yeah.
You just given up.
I used to work part time.
We work full time.
And you've managed to do all this alongside a full time job, which I think is incredible to acknowledge as well.
Can get quite stressful. I mean, even when you do a local event and you've got 3 bands coming on into a venue and you haven't got advanced ticket sales, but we've been so fortunate that at the last minute you might say 30% of your ticket sales you might sold in advance, but you wait for the others to fill up. But we've never been let down. They all come right at the last moment. But you're thinking, I wonder if like 40 people is going to turn up. But we've never had that.
It's definitely been
You're well supported.
And it's definitely been a journey, because when it did start, we were just a grieving family. None of us, I think I was at uni. None of us had any experience in any of this. And then all of a sudden, you've got this pressure, this expectation, and this money, and all these people looking at you. And it was terrifying, but amazing. And it was such a good way to distract us, I think, essentially from upset. And also we've met some really good people along the way, which has helped us move forward. And then you have learned lots of things, because you're trying to understand not how to run a charity, but also how to like organise an event and things, all whilst just making dinner and going to work. And all the ins and outs, and keep accounts and everything, and legal aspects. So it's been one hell of a journey, whilst just being very regular people.
No training was given at all, was it? It was just literally in the deep end, and literally hit the ground running, and that's what you all done.
But luckily we've had such good support. Like we've had family, friends that can help with this or advise on that, whether it's helping us register the charity, helping us set up a website,
doing the accounts.
And although we've got a very small family, they've been every step of the way of us, haven't they?
Our little cousin's grown up learning how to count money out of a collection pot and bag it up. She's been brought up on that.
Obviously what you've done is going to be almost impossible to replicate, but what would you say to other families that are going to go through the same kind of thing? What would you say to them? What advice would you give them? They can go through the same kind of thing that you guys went through.
It's important to know what you want, because we had 2 different routes that we could go to. I guess you can either join forces with a larger charity and take on board their expertise and their structure that's already in place, and there's some wonderful merits to doing that. We went down the different route because it was Tom's memory that was really driving us, so we wanted to keep our identity. So we went for that option, and we still want to maintain it with the research project in his name. So there's different ways you can do it depending on what you want to do, but the importance is understanding what else is already out there that you can tap into, because you don't want to duplicate effort. There was no one doing what we were doing, the similar related organisations, and they've been very helpful as well. They've been very helpful, and everyone's linked. But
now there's a direct link now with the Tom Prince Cancer Trust, who a partnership with UCL to do research for osteosarcoma. So if any parents and families going through what we've gone through, we were £1 million up the road now, and there's people out there. When we started, we were high and dry really. We couldn't seem to. We met these people up in Leeds, but they were in the very early stages, and nothing was joined up. But now it's a massive kind of research project with UCL. So if they wanted to do something, the building blocks are there. Like you can go to Tom Prince Cancer Trust, and that goes straight into UCL. So if you want to do a bed push, jump off the spinning tower, or
any part of the country, actually go to directly to UCL. There's a link there for the Tom Prince Osteosarcoma Research Project directly with UCL. That was set up and we announced £1 million. So if it does go wide further afield in the UK and anybody picks that up, they can donate directly to the.
There's a link our website as well.
So that ready for our website,
our website
and
has the link to UCL. It has a link to the project page. Also has links to contacting the university as well.
And where's the website, Johnny?
It's tomprince.co.uk.
We've also got donate on there as well.
Yeah, we've got so we did have a couple of other funding options, but now it's all kind of being streamed into Tom Prince Research. But no, actually, sorry,
we still have a just give page.
Still
you can still donate to the Tom Prince Cancer Trust because we are still running the charity at the moment. We're still fundraising and all our accounts and that's still open. But we've also set up a direct link to UCL for the project so that we're ready when. If we do give up as a family, we do give up the charity, they can still go straight into the project. So there's both ways.
So the charity will always remain open, but you just want to run it actively. So we can still donate.
Well,
years to come.
you can direct. You will be able to fundraise directly to UCL to the Tom Prince project.
It's a project. Probably won't be the Tom Prince Cancer Trust. It'll be in partnership with UCL. But one of the big important parts is, although this is a Portsmouth-based charity, whatever findings UCL develop, it was UK-wide, if not worldwide. So,
because I think the project's actually linking in, because osteosarcoma is so under research compared to other places. This research project is linking in with experts around the world, isn't it? Because it's forming a bit of a nucleus. Is that
we've
it's a
with
collaboration.
£1 million, you get the attention of other professors and research institutes. What's going on. So it's a little bit above us to tell you what's going on at UCL, but we've pushed the cart down the road, and UCL hopefully will be in contact with other people around the world to say, look, this is what they found, and hopefully you're going to get worldwide collaboration to beat this awful disease which we all want to do. And as you said earlier on, if it saves one child's life, then the £1 million is cheap, isn't it? It's a cheap price. But it's taken us a long time to get that £1 million, so any help we can get, for us, the Tom Prince Cancer Trust, linking in with partnership to UCL, please come along our little journey we've got.
Definitely. It's so inspiring what you've done. You set a goal and you've just taken the steps required, no matter how long it's taken or no matter what stress it's taken or time, whilst working full time and everything you've done.
But you're the guys going to do the free kick challenge.
That's just the first. We'll do loads more.
But we couldn't do it without you guys and the people who have supported us. We've said this all along. As much as we had a goal and a passion, if we didn't have that support there, so that means an awful lot to all of us, and everyone should be proud. When you're doing these things, don't take it lightly. I know the Tom Prince Cancer Trust.
I'll like try and take it lightly.
We might not be with you in the body, but we're definitely there in spirit. Anybody does anything, we're really so thankful for everything. It's heartwarming, isn't it?
We don't take what people have done for the charity.
I suppose
we don't take it for granted. You could have done more, could have done this. Whatever anybody does, if they raise money or raise awareness, just to get the message out there. And just a big thank you to everybody who's taken part and who's going to take part in the future.
It's that time and energy, because we all, you could be doing other things rather than running up a mountain and being here talking to us, but everybody's time's precious, isn't it?
Definitely.
So the effort to to share your time, to give us some of your time and help us to do what we want to do. Well, you're helping everyone, aren't you? But yeah, it does mean a lot, doesn't
It
it?
really does, yeah.
But it's the meaningful stuff that means the most, isn't it? So it's definitely worth doing.
Yeah.
No, and thank you all.
Awesome.
Good luck.
Good luck.
And anyway, you want to send people off the back of this? Oh, the website is just given. No, it's
Yeah, so our
Tom
website, tomprince.co.uk,
Yeah.
and then we've got a Facebook page,
Which
and
is?
so Tom Prince CT, I think it is, but if you just do a little search for it, it will crop up, or you can link to it from our website. We've got Twitter as well, which again might be easiest to get to from our website.
and the Blue Day's the 4th.
Yep, 4th of May.
Frown Park on the 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if people want
Stick
to
your money in the back. In the back.
Yeah.
It's there. And any other businesses want to join in on Blue Day, please
Yeah.
let us know.
because it's really easy, there's a
Yeah.
registration
Yeah.
form online, and then they can dress in blue and donate money, but
Awesome.
if people want to go bonkers and do other things,
I think-
cake sales and stuff,
Yeah.
well, that's not very bonkers to be fair, but like, there has been bonkers ones, then please do. It's always a really fun day.
yeah.
Cool. And people can contact you via your website. On
Yeah.
the email?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got email on there.
Yeah. There's email contact details on the website. Yeah.
But we've also got collection boxes as well, haven't we? Like just generally
Yeah,
around
it's a
venues.
good
If,
point.
if
Yeah.
you see our little name and our little orange collection tub, and you've got any spare change in your pocket.
Yeah, if any bank, shop, outlet or business would like one of our orange collection box to put on their counter, please contact us and we're glad you dropped one up.
Yeah.
Need any helpers to carry around?
On the
on
Saturday,
the
the
Saturday,
5th of
yeah.
May.
We're hoping to have about maybe 20 to 30 people. Well, we
20.
always try to get about 20
Yeah.
to 30, but our family only consists of about 8 members, so we're it was a very small family.
It is a really buzzing day. Like,
Yeah,
when
it
you
is
get
a-
down
yeah.
there.
So yeah, if any
If I
volunteers,
wasn't up a mountain, I probably would.
Yeah. You've got a very
can
good
you run
excuse.
that?
We're busy that day.
Yeah, let's hope
That's
we
a
get back
poor
there.
excuse.
Awesome,
Yeah.
well, thanks very much, and all the best for everything. Hopefully, the research.
And all the
goes-
very best to you and your friends.
Thank
It's
you.
tremendous
Yeah,
what you're
hopefully
doing.
we get that done, all right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening, guys and girls, and I hope you enjoyed that episode of the podcast. I think you'll all agree that they're an incredibly inspiring family, and what they've done and what they will continue to do, and the legacy that Tom has left behind is incredible, inspiring, motivational. Like, it's just an incredible story, and yeah, I'm lost for words. Like, last night when I left their house, I continue to be lost for words, and one of the main things that I've taken from it is just the one thing is just be kind and be caring, and just care. And yeah, like, so many people nowadays that they lose perspective and they lose touch on reality a little bit, and they'll get stressed over things that aren't important. This brings things home massively, and it makes perspective is huge. And another lesson that I've taken from this podcast, which is all about the Be More brand as well, and is just set a goal and just focus on it. And this is all what these guys did, and they focus on it and they work towards it every single day, like one day at a time, whether they felt like it or not, or whether it was a good day or a bad day. They knew that the goal was the goal, and they knew what they needed to do, and it was work, and it was show up, and it was do what had to be done, and that they continue to do that. And that's an important lesson that so many people can hugely benefit from, just applying that into their lives, and the lessons that they learned from doing the things that they had to do, and the challenges that they faced, and every little obstacle they had and every hurdle they had to jump over. And now 14 years later, they've raised £1 million, which is going to be going into an incredible cause to try and build research that's going to literally change people's lives. And that's powerful beyond measure. And no matter what difficulties they might have come across on that journey, it's all so worth it. And to see them talking about it and listen to their passion and everything that they mentioned, it's just, yeah, when you can see how they feel and how they talk about it, that you know that it's just an incredible journey that they've been on. And yeah, so if takes the things you can take from it would be to set a goal, and no matter what it is, that we get one shot at life, and it's short. So you need to realise that you have to go and chase the things that you want to chase, and don't wait for anyone to give you permission to do so. Set the goal and spend every day working towards it, and the journey, and it's the process that counts. It's never the end point, it's always the process. And then when you're doing something as like big as this, when you then enjoy the journey and the process, and then you get to the end point and you've done something that's going to create research that's going to change lives, like incredible, life changing. And yeah, I'm honoured to and so grateful to have had this episode of the podcast. So thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. The Just Giving website, by the way, if you do want to donate for the Free Peaks Challenge, half of that will go towards the Tom Prince Cancer Trust. The other half goes towards Football for Cancer. Is justgiving.com/fundraising/JW3Peaks, and all them tags were in all my social media. So, or if you didn't remember that, just give me a message and I'll tell you where to go. Any donations are really, really appreciated. And yeah, come 4th of May, you will see us climbing up the 3 biggest peaks in the UK in Budgie Smugglers, and I cannot wait. But yeah, thanks so much for listening. Lots more podcast content coming soon, and I'm looking forward to bringing it all your way. But yeah, have an awesome weekend. Thanks again for listening, and I will catch you guys very soon.